When you've got a flexible space, it's large enough that you can set it up for different types of activity without having to change anything.
I would never have a massive open space that was just space, because I do think there's no defined purpose for that space.
You've got this classroom and you've got to create something where the kids will learn and access everything.
If you've too many tables in a room, it restricts what children can do, it limits the space.
They're not accessing all parts of the classroom. They have their input on the carpet, then they move to the tables. They're not going all around the classroom, they're not using the different areas of the classroom, they're not using the corners of the classroom, they're not using what's around the outside.
If you feel like you've got 30 children in a room, you've got to have 30 seats, then most classrooms, that classroom is then full. You haven't got a big carpet area where children can go and express themselves.
The big space like that can be flexible so that you could set it up with sufficient furniture so that you could have a sort of lecture style space in it, facing up to a whiteboard, say.
You have to bring things away from the wall, you have to make it kind of 3D.
One of my areas for improvement was creating a learning environment which was sort of more accessible to all the children.
If you pull cupboards, turn cupboards, rather than flat against the wall, you turn them on the side so they're sticking out, then you can use your wall space to put a drape down onto a cupboard top, a display that's interactive, that's relative to what's going on down there or down that side.
If you've got things like bookshelves that you can use as kind of room dividers, then you can create different characters of space, so that you might have that central sort of focused area of concentrated learning, but you might have breakout spaces which have got, for smaller groups, say, where you could sit down and be more quiet and reading or researching.
I've observed a bit of continuous provision where you set up the different areas, but I think it'd be really hard to do because it does look like they are playing and they're not maybe like it's sat down and working. You can see they're actually working, but if they are just playing, it'd be hard, I think, to monitor what they're learning.
If you as an adult don't go in and play in that area and show them what's expected, show them what to do, and then back off and leave them to it, and then when you've put the infrastructure in, then they'll go off at a tangent on their own because they know what the expectations are.
You might have a wet area, so you could actually have an area that had a sink there, and you might be able to do model making in that area or art sort of activities.
If you had a sand tray, what would you do in it? And if you had a water tray, how could you fit that and cover all the areas of the curriculum?
You've got to look at the curriculum, what the children have got to attain, but then you have to think in a way a bit out of your box and think how you can do that through the medium of sand or clay or dough or water. You have to try and find ways of doing it so that it's purposeful play.
My fears would be you have all these spaces and what do you put in them? Would the kids go in them?
You've got to believe in yourself, and the whole school's got to believe in you. The head's got to believe in you. You've got to trust you that even though it's structured play, you are attaining what you can get through a worksheet or whatever. Because I think you can. It's hard work, and the teachers have to think a lot and address, if a child's failing at something, how they can put something to stimulate them back to do it. And it won't work for all children, but I think for most children, they would fare better with that kind of approach, because I think they will. If you ask a child, what they want to do, we're going to do this, how can we do it? They'll tell you, won't they?
We started by looking at other schools, looking at different classrooms, what other schools had in place.
We went to some schools and we looked in different classrooms, and I really liked the sandpit and the water area, because we've never had a water area and a sand area in our classroom, and the things that you put water in had like measurements on and that.
If we could bring anything back into our classroom, what would you like to bring back?
Some more art and craft.
Some more art and craft area, sort of a little place where you can just do art and craft.
Yeah.
And what else we've thought about? A sandpit, an art and craft area.
We could use those fish that have numbers on.
I think that's what we all looked through the pictures, had a discussion about what you liked about the different schools, what you didn't like, what things would you like to put in place in our classroom, what things could you change?
A printer, a scanner. Well, we could have a mouse. We could have a printer in our classroom. I like the painting area because they had little pots and they had little paintbrushes and you didn't have to wash them. I did really want a dressing up space. And all these girls were playing in it and I saw one dressing up as a princess. The paperback book areas because I like reading very much. A big, big jungle area. Jungle jeeps, animals, all sorts. There's a lot of dinosaurs and things. Models of dinosaurs and things. And then there was a little bit of Lego.
They want all the things that they'll enjoy, but I think you've got to work with them. They've got to take on board their ideas and you've got to incorporate your own ideas. So there is still learning going in place, but then there are these areas where they will enjoy and where you can set up activities that they'll enjoy. So I think you've got to have a bit of a mix with the kids' ideas and my ideas.
Have the tables going like that? In a horseshoe? No, it's the opposite way around as a horseshoe. The horseshoe is like that. Yeah. But, so people sit at the front and then go round. Yeah. That would be a good idea.
What do you think? A jungle area, good start. What else?
Stop doing the mystery show. Why don't we have the sand area there? And we're going to use next to the sand area. And that's a horseshoe, and that's the corridor. Digs there. And also next to the door.
I think the children struggle with it being such a big space, and they've always known it as being set up as it is. I don't think they can sort of comprehend how it could change at first, but then we sort of looked at the space as a whole. We'd change things around, move tables, chairs, different things, seeing what it could be.
The question was whether they could create their own environment. They've put most of it in place. They've put the reading column, they've sorted all the books out, they've set the wet area up, all the things that are messy and wet go in there, all the things you need to make a model, they go together, so they know straight away where they can access these things.
We get more space. We need more space because if we didn't have more space we wouldn't be able to put our tent in, or we wouldn't have more room to have our sandpit and water. We could learn more about underwater things and shells because now we've got a water area and a sand area. I like it because we're making our classroom more exciting. My classroom's never been like this before.
There's a lot more room for the children to work. Before there was either the carpet area or the tables. There's these different zones now. It seems much more spread out. There's lots of different places for the children to access.
There's better things in there. Well, you've got more space in the middle, aren't you? And if you're working, just because you can get around.
Now just seeing what we've got in place, I think you could move to more of a continuous provision approach. I can understand a bit more how to do that, and I'm really glad we have tried.